This video is about identifying mission critical resources as a CIO. As a consultant, I want to help Jim Barton identify his top resources at the IT department. You remember that Jim Barton wanted to know his first action as the CIO, and the kid told him to find his best employees. Uh, I don't want to confine myself to employees, but I want to help Jim Barton find all the important resources. The resource-based theory can help me to identify those critical resources. The theory has three clauses in a way. The first clause is firm possesses resources. So the theory views an organization as a collection of resources, and a resource is any assets or capabilities that are available and useful in detecting and responding to market opportunities or threats. So again, we have two types of resource, asset and capability. Assets are tangible or intangible things firms use in their processes to create, produce, or offer products to the market. And examples are employees, raw materials, computers, and software applications. On the other hand, capabilities are repeatable patterns of actions in the use of those assets. They also help create, produce, or offer products to the market. And examples of capabilities are order fulfillment and uh, checkout. So know that for a capability, you need to have, you can have a kind of level. You can say that how many order fulfillment can this company do? For example, they can do 100, they can fulfill 100 orders per minute. The second clause of resource-based theory is that firms achieve competitive advantage because of some of the resources that they have or they acquire. What is competitive advantage? It is the ability to produce a product or provide a service with a lower price or with higher quality. So as a result, the company can enjoy rent, which means return on investment higher than its rivals. The third clause of resource-based theory is that a resource creates a sustainable competitive advantage if it's varying. That means it's valuable, rare, appropriable, inimitable, non-substitutable, and non-mobile. I'm going to explain these in the next slides. For a resource to provide sustainable competitive advantage, it must be valuable. That means it has to help a firm to improve its efficiency or effectiveness. For example, a resource can be new and innovative, like a paperclip design, but it doesn't have influence on the amount of sales that a company have, or it doesn't decrease cost, significantly. A resource also must also be rare. That means other companies do not have that resource. For example, an ATM used to be a rare resource in 1990, but these days almost all banks have ATMs. So it doesn't provide this significant value to the customers. So banks cannot charge more for their services in comparison to the competitors because of providing ATM service. Also, a firm should be able to appropriate the returns from that resource. If its resource is so rare, like some technical skills that you have to pay so much for the resource that as a company you cannot enjoy the profit because the cost of enjoying using that resource is so high that it doesn't help to have a higher profit margin. So in these cases, the resource is not going to be helpful toward having a competitive advantage over other firms. Moreover, the resource must be inimitable. That means other companies could doesn't have the ability to replicate that resource. For example, a company uh, may use a new computer hardware which allows the company to provide better services and charge the customers more. However, the same hardware can be easily and quickly duplicated by other firms and sold to the rivals. In that case, the competitive advantage is not gonna last. Moreover, the resource must be non-substitutable to help uh, enjoying a sustainable competitive advantage. That means the resource other companies, the rivals, should not be able to replace uh, the resource with an equivalent resource. For example, assume that you are using Python to develop a great data analytic companies that allows you to identify the trends in the market quickly. Uh, but and this resource, this program is not available to other firms, but another company use Java frameworks to create the same software. So a resource, if a resource is replaceable, then you know uh, it doesn't provide the benefit that makes an organization enjoy higher profit in comparison to the rivals. And finally, a resource should be in a way that cannot be transferred or traded by competitors. So, for example, company brands and cultures are difficult to acquire by other companies, but even the best uh, employees that you have can be easily poached by uh, the rivals. So for a resource to create a sustainable competitive advantage, it has to be valuable, rare, appropriable, inimitable, non-substitutable, and non-mobile. Let me be more precise. Resources can create short-term competitive advantages if they are valuable, rare, and appropriable, but they cannot create keep this competitive advantage for a long time. A competitive advantage becomes sustainable if the resources are also inimitable, non-substitutable, and non-mobile. So my recommendation to Jim Barton is that he needs to ask for a report based on VRAIN to figure out the mission critical resources in IT department. And this survey should not be only about IT employees, but also about software applications, hardware, and other IT assets. So he can ask for a report like a table that you see here for IT employees, for example, for John Cho or Hita Puri. We want to know that how valuable they are they rare or not, uh, can we replace them with other resources or not? Are they tradable? That means would they be willing to go and work for other companies? And we need to do the same kind of analysis for IT assets like software application and hardware. So filling this table can help Jim Barton a lot. Try to answer this question uh, and we discussed this during the interactive class. This is the second question. Pause here for a minute and try to answer the question. We reached to the end of this lecture. In the next lecture, I discuss the cost and value of information technology.